Today we're going to talk about my 4 questions for literary analysis and the Song of Songs, our first real reading after the song lyrics that we looked at in the very first weeks. This is going to be a useful framework for us to use all semester long. We have 12 or 14 different readings, and with every single reading, we're going to ask ourselves these 4 critical questions. These are what you'll want to build in your notes. These questions, the answer to these questions will form the guts of your essays that you write, and they also will give you all of the fodder you need to be successful on the exam. So these 4 questions really play a central role in the rest of your work this semester. So I bet you're eager to hear what they are. The 4 questions that we're going to ask again and again are kind of simple, at least on the outset. When we read a text, when we look at a reading, we're going to ask, what's there? And the most basic way, what are we looking at? Who wrote it? What's the title? The author? When was it written? The date? What genre is it in? What kind? Genre means a kind. What kind of writing? What kind of literature is it? And last but not least, what's a one-sentence summary, a bumper sticker version of what the text is? So that's the what's there question. Usually that's the most obvious and the easiest question to get answers to. The next question we ask is what's interesting? What stands out as provocative, curious, thought-provoking, new, novel, challenging? We're always reading things to find interesting sections, interesting words, interesting techniques. So we'll always be asking ourselves, what's interesting about this text? What gets my brain ticking? Next question, the third, is what's difficult about the text? Oy vey, text can be difficult in so many ways. One, they can be boring. And why is a text dull? It's long, it's not condensed, it's irrelevant, it's old-fashioned. There's all kinds of ways, like, because Captain Kirk made me read it. So there's difficulties, there's sort of reading technical difficulties. That is one of the challenges of this class. We are learning how to deal with difficulty effectively. So in this class, when we see difficult text, it's like, okay, what have I learned? What are strategies I can do to attack a complex, a dense, a difficult text? Sometimes difficulties, though, aren't so much technical with big words, old words, strange phrasings. Sometimes difficulties are difficulties of they're ethical difficulties. They are things that are ugly or difficult emotionally or wrong or bad or upset us. So readings can be upsetting in all kinds of ways, or they can be violations of all kinds of kinds. So when we think about difficult texts, it could be difficult technically, it could be difficult, it's dark, and I don't like it. I don't like to put my head, my heart, my feelings into a text like that. Last but not least, the 4th question we're going to ask is, so what? What does any of this have to do with us? Why does it matter? How is this text going to serve me? And that's a really legitimate question to ask. At one level, how is this text going to serve me in this class? How will this text let me write a good exam, make a wonderful, interesting, creative project, triumph in my next essay, write about something that gets me excited, or that I can really engage and connect with. So what? What does this have to do with my work in the class? But a larger so what question is, how does this text have anything to do with me, my life, who I am, how I'm going to live, how I'm going to love, how I'm going to parent, how I'm going to walk in the world? Texts inform the senses of our values, our identities, our commitments, our sense of justice, unfairness. Texts really do, at least in my experience, they're really powerful, important readings that I've encountered over my life. And they have a lot to do with my sense of who I am and how I am in the world. So the so what is both the most important question, and I think it's a question that gets left out too often in all our coursework that we do, not just literary study, but I think our life is too short, our adulthoods are too challenging not to hold that question, how can I let this inform how I want to be and how I want to walk in the world. So 4 questions we'll look at in every single literary text. What's there, what's interesting, what's difficult, and so what?